It'll be fine. The only spot is if I tear a pec. So it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act. Yeah. Today we're bench pressing. Interesting day. I'll tell you why it's interesting. I squatted very heavy a couple of days ago, and my arms are very sore usually. There's always something, but typically I wouldn't program a heavy session straight after my heavy bench press, my heavy squat, which was 300 kilograms. But if you remember my squat, I only did 2 sets. I did the 300 and one back down set, and I strained my adductor or hamstring. I can't tell you which one it was, but it's still a little bit sore. I'm glad I stopped that session where I stopped it. But either way, I only did 2 sets. So it's possible that my arms aren't hugely fatigued, and I may be able to go for something heavy today. I do have a special guest in today. I've got Reese. He's in here to do his rehab bench press sessions, but he's also going to help me unrack. So when I saw him rock up, I thought, you know what? I may as well use this opportunity to be open to a heavy single. All right, so he's very good at unracking. The last session, I kind of bitched out a little bit. I said, I'll either go for a heavy single or 5 reps on 180. And I ended up, so I consider that bitching out. Even though 5 reps on 180 is good, it's technically not 205. Right? Anyway, so now I need to get that 205. Now, in the meantime, Reese is rehabbing. So Reese has torn his bicep doing arm wrestling.
Something stupid.
Yeah, arm wrestling, right? And which one, right? Oh, left.
Left one.
Left arm. You're right-handed.
I am, luckily.
So what have you been doing with your training in the meantime?
Back into it. I started bench pressing. Started doing the regular training. Did some deadlifts yesterday.
Yeah.
But we're back up to 120 kilos today.
Unfortunately, people get injured when they lift very, very heavy weights, or in this case, arm wrestling. There's a question, like, what do we do for imbalances here? So there's going to be an imbalance for sure. His right arm is stronger than his left because his left has been doing pretty much nothing. But there's a lot of research that supports if you continue strengthening the good arm, it will have a neurological carryover to rehabilitating the strength of the injured arm when he comes back. Caveat to this, it doesn't increase the muscle mass of his untrained arm. So yes, that right arm will get bigger with the training and that one won't, but when he does get back to full strength, it is a much quicker process if you continue to train the untrained arm. So are you going to do any one-arm work today?
Yeah, a little bit.
Great, so your session is going to be starting on bench press.
Yep.
What weight?
I've done 60, Oreb, 80, I'll work up to 120.
Yeah. How long has it been since you tore it, the day you tore it? How long ago was that?
It's been around 12 weeks.
Okay.
12 weeks since I tore it, 10 weeks post-operation.
Yeah.
I've been benching for the last 3 weeks.
This is really good to know because I know a lot of people have injuries, and I've actually spoken to a lot of people with bicep tears. And the amount of times I kind of refer them to people that I know or high-level athletes that have gone through this type of surgery to give them hope. I'll tell you now, if you've ever had an injury, anyone at home, you'll know it's pretty damn depressing, right? Especially when you're kind of like on a mission to hit a number, then all of a sudden, damn, it's surgery time. I tore a muscle. You know, I've been there and I remember being down in the dumps. And it's always important to understand you'll be back, right? Now, Reese is an elite level lifter and he's been doing this for many years. It's not his first injury. Is it your first surgery?
No way, man. I've had shoulder recos, broken plates in my hands, ankles.
And you've come back after that and achieved your best totals since surgeries?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your total? What's your total?
1,050 kilograms.
1,050 kilograms in the 140 kilo class.
Yep.
What's your best bench press?
260 kilos in the gym.
Okay, so 260 kilos, so right now 120 is not heavy for Reese, but at the same time it's important to know, 12 weeks since he tore it off the bone and he's back to a decent enough level to be kind of like functioning and we kind of see the finish line, right?
Definitely, bro. Getting close.
Yeah, so, you know, a bit of a message to people that have injured yourself, keep your head up and you will be back. 12 weeks is what it's taken Reese to get to being able to, you know, function with weights. But anyway, that's what we're going to see today. We'll see his bench press. We'll see my bench press. Hopefully I won't bitch out and I'll get to 205.
Hopefully, if you need my help, I'm able to.
Yeah.
You don't need my help.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
I'll do one hand, bro. I'm good. I can get.
I think he can do with one hand. Dinny usually spots me for this.
I've done 220 with one hand before.
That's so true. That's so true. So I think he's competent enough to spot me for this. But either way, I don't want to go for it if it's not there. So I will go for it because it will be there. Let's do a quick recap on the bench press technique that I've used to bench press 250 kilograms. Sit at the edge of the bench, so when you lay back, you don't bump your head on the bar. Important cue. Slide back. The reason why I slide back is so that I can bring my feet back. So if I just get to the position here, my feet come back here, that's okay, but if I slide back further, I can bring them back a little bit further, which increases my tension, increases my arch. Now from here, on the balls of the feet and push the heels down. They're not going to touch the ground, but there's still that downwards pressure from start to finish. I'll tell you what that does. It's called hip joint extension. Hip joint extension initiates my arch, which is what I want. Okay, so heels down and slide until my eyes are behind the bar, not in line with the bar. Okay, now from here, heels down, shoulder blades, I squeeze them together and down. Big breath for the unrack, and I hold my breath from start to finish. You ready? And now I exhale. Okay, so what you saw then is the main cues I'm thinking about. Heels down hard and shoulder blades back and down. And then I just press away.
When do you get your unracker to start unracking for you?
I'll probably start at about 120 kilograms, I'd say, only because my arms are pretty damn tired from the squat. It doesn't mean that they are not strong enough to lift the weight. I just don't want the discomfort. So, you know, I've unracked heavy weights for myself, but when it comes to a really, really heavy day like this, I don't want to mess up. So the next thing is, Reese is very good at unracking, except I haven't had him unrack for me for a long time. Well, he hasn't unracked for anyone in the last 3 months since his bicep tear, so it's been a while. So I guess that's another thing, is I definitely don't want to do my last warm-up and then have him come and unrack, because he needs to familiarize himself with, you know, my position as well. So I reckon I'll get him to unrack on this set.
The best thing you introduced to my life is the...
I saw that long black with 2 teaspoons of honey. I got a sweet tooth. For a lot of people, I'll tell you what happens. When you go to the cafe and you say, I want 2 teaspoons of honey, they go, yeah, righto. And they go a little squeeze, and then you drink it and it doesn't taste like there's much in it. All right, so if you ever do the 2 teaspoons of honey, do 2, well, actually it's 1 heaped teaspoon. That's why I say 2, because they don't really put that much in. So 1 heaped teaspoon, and make sure you stir it. And that is the best pre-workout backed by science. It's not backed by science. That was a joke. Not everything you do has to be backed by science. It tastes very good, and coffee is very good for a pre-workout. All right, Reese. Yes, sir. Can I have an unrack, please? Thank you. Slide back, feet back, heels down, okay? I use the powerlifting grip, which is the widest grip possible. Index finger on the outer ring of a powerlifting bar, okay? Eyes behind the bar, shoulders back and down. Big breath. Nice. That was perfect, actually. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Reese is good unracking. Good one. Fucking mic.
You're very close to that.
I hit it the first rep.
Just brazed it.
Yeah.
Just brazed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's because the shirt was down further.
That's right. I got to reset it. Anyway, so that was 140. I'll go. I'm gonna go 165 is what I'll do. 65, 85, 205. So three more sets. Unrack was perfect. Unrack was very strong, actually.
I'm just using my lats. I'm not using. You know
So
what I mean?
good. So good.
Extra focused.
So this is what I teach with an unrack is, if you know what you're doing, it's helpful to take heaps of weight, but not so much that it takes you out of position. So Reese is a great coach, and he knows what the right position is. So he's actually, doesn't need his biceps, he's kind of shrugging it, right? He's shrugging the weight just enough, come over here, or you can see it on that side there, just enough to clear that lip, But that's as high as you really need to take it. You take it higher than that, you're going to start pulling my shoulder blades out of position. And then it's hard to bring my shoulder blades back in position because I'm laying on that bench, right? So that's, if you want to be an expert bencher for your bro, I recommend take a lot of the weight.
Yeah, I like 70% kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
So I never really thought about how much weight, because I can't tell someone who hasn't unracked for me before, take heaps of weight, because they'll typically take it all out. Yeah. But I'll tell you what just happened then. I didn't press any of it yet, and as soon as I took a breath in, he'd taken all of it. Yeah. I didn't realize that's how much weight you actually take in.
I didn't realize either.
That's luck, because it's easy when you're in the right position.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? So, you know, he's deadlifted. What's your best deadlift?
410.
410. So this is only 140 kilograms. So it is quite light for him. But that's the art of unracking. Okay, so that's something I've realized now, is you want to take as much weight as possible, but not so much that you take the lifter out of position. And that is a very helpful unrack.
You've got to put them in the position.
Yeah, which that's what happened then. That was perfect. Now, let's talk about, so you're going to do another set.
I am going to do 120 next.
So let's talk about, for rehabilitation, so this is back to anyone who's come off any type of, I don't want to talk so much about surgery, because I think it's case by case with that. But whenever I talk about rehabilitation, I think that movement is medicine, and you need to get straight back into training as quickly as possible. We will talk surgery though, because Reese is actually going through it, so we're going to ask him his specific rehab protocols. So how long after surgery was your first bench press session?
7 weeks post-surgery.
And what did you do?
Empty bar to start with, tested it out, went up to 40 kilos. That was just the confirmation that I was kind of ready to start lifting, because I was kind of doubting myself, obviously.
Yep. Did that hurt at all?
It felt so stiff, but no pain. Yep. It was just a lot of scar tissue built up, with a big hard lump under there. So it took a while to get the movement back. Yeah. I took a few weeks.
Sets and reps. 40 kilos, how many sets and reps?
3 by 10.
Yep.
Feeling it out.
And then what did you do? How many days after was your next session?
Then I went 2 days later in the gym, and I decided, okay, every second day for another few weeks, I'll bench every second day, add 10 kilograms. That was a good way for me to get back up to a decent weight, relatively quickly without loading it too much.
So this is something that I love, is high frequency, because it's a light load, right? So high frequency, that's every second day. What else were you doing on bench press day?
I was training my back, training my triceps, but always with my bench press days, always training back. Sometimes shoulders as well, different angles. Yeah. But mostly it's always chest and back with a bit of triceps and biceps as well with the rehab.
I wrote a program for someone yesterday, so I don't take this for granted. Is whenever I train, and I guess you as well, we train push and pull on the same session. A lot of people like to split it up, and they'll do a push on one day and a pull on one day. The reason why I like to do that is a lot of the times you can really superset those exercises and get twice the amount of work in the same amount of time. So you've got two options. Do a heavy set and wait, however many minutes is your rest. 8 minutes is for us usually, but a lot of people aren't resting that long. So let's just call it 5 minutes. So you can do press, rest 5 minutes, or you can go press, rest 2.5 minutes, row or pull down, rest 2.5 minutes. So push, pull, and get twice the amount of work on the same day. So typically that's the difference between a strength athlete and a hypertrophy athlete. We're thinking about movement patterns. So a lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times we'll do our bench press days on a push-pull day. So he's doing push-pull on the same day. Now, bicep is a pulling muscle. So doing the bench press, you'd think it's not really part of the bench press, but it's part of the equation. It's quite stiff.
The shoulder as well.
It stabilizes the shoulder, so you feel a bit of instability in your shoulder.
That's the first thing I felt, was just there was nothing in here, and I felt very loose. So just working on getting all that feeling nice and tight again. And it's coming back. It's coming back.
So it was tight for the bench press. How did it feel for the rows or the pull downs?
Again, it was that uncomfortable feeling, because obviously it's no confidence in what's happening. So it's like I was gentle towards the end, but slowly increased the range of motion until I got to a full stretch. And increasing the load slowly, nice and simple, same as the bench press, just every day a little bit more.
So push pull every second day, because it's so light.
So light, especially on the left side.
And then you reduce that a little bit
as it gets stronger. So as I, for example, got my bench press back over 100 kilograms, I've kind of moved that back to bench every 3 days, maybe every 4 days, depending how I'm feeling.
So 2 times a week, you
essentially,
say?
which is back to normal. But I'm still doing one other day, which is more direct shoulder work for the left side. But once this is strong enough, I'll probably drop that day out and then just do 2 main bench days.
Back to 2 upper body days per week.
Yes.
Okay, so that's some tips for you. If you're ever rehabilitating an injury, here's my advice to you. Don't train through pain. So we asked Reese and he said it was tight. But I guess there's a bit of an indicator where you go, you can press as much as you can, that's no pain, but then as soon as you feel a little bit of extra pain, that's when it's a little bit too heavy, right? So that's when you can drop back a little bit. So don't train to pain, train just below that. Tight is okay, that's not really pain, right? And you know, high frequency, the body likes high frequency with a very light weight. But then as it starts getting heavier, that's when we need to. So our sweet spot for when you're benching 260, how many sessions a week were you doing?
Well, twice a week benching.
Yeah.
And I was doing 2 lower body days.
Yeah.
But to be honest, my lower body days were very light at the time. I had a back injury. So that's why my bench press progressed so well. Yeah. But usually it's the 1 deadlift day, the 1 squat day, and the 2 pressing days.
Okay, so that's same as what my split is 2 upper, 2 lower, so 4 a week. And it's the same dilemma with a lot of high level power lifters. Heavy lower body, especially squats, interferes with the pain that you feel when you're doing a heavy bench press. So that's quite often what I tell people. If you've had one great lift in a week, it's a good week.
It's a great week. Right?
So it's very hard. So this is what I'm trying to do. I had a 300 kilo squat a couple of days ago, and I'm trying to move forward with my bench press.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm playing with fire.
Yeah, bro,
But
dangerous games.
We'll see. I already did 140, didn't I?
You
And
did,
it's your
sir.
turn. The bicep crosses the shoulder joint, right? So you think of it as just like, you know, elbow flexor, but it's also a shoulder. So this is another action it has, is that at the shoulder. So anything that crosses the shoulder or any joint, it stabilizes that joint. So therefore, if you injure that muscle that stabilizes the joint, you're gonna lose stability. So his shoulder feels unstable, no coincidence. So check out his technique. Because he's not going heavy, he's not doing the full competition style arch, he's, you know, a bit flat-footed, and he doesn't really need to maximize his levers.
Cool beans.
Post rehab PB.
The one funny thing is like, it's an odd feeling to feel like one side is doing nothing and one side is working hard.
Which side was working hard?
The left side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because your right arm is still very strong.
Still very strong.
But your left arm hasn't pressed that much weight in 12 weeks.
No. But
Interesting.
it's not getting harder
Yeah.
as I'm getting stronger, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just I'm getting stronger each week.
Yeah. And it
at
feels the same.
rate.
It feels the same every week.
Pretty much.
But you're just going heavier.
Yeah.
Good one. See how I wrap my wrists? My wrist straps are always on. Did you see that little hack? They're always on, but watch what I do at the end of this set. I take them off but leave them on. You'll see.
That's awesome, bro.
Pretty good, hey?
Dude, that's crazy.
Skills.
That's wild. Let's go.
Lovely.
Naught.
Easy. Felt good, thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Yeah, so watch this, right? So this is, to be honest with you, when I watch people getting ready for a lift, they have to go from wrist wraps on the floor to do it again. It takes a lot of time. So what I do is I just loosen it, and that's loose, and they stay there, right? See that? See that for a hack? Now, when I'm ready to go, I just grab the elastic, put it on, like a Formula One pit stop. In and out, ready to go. And the belt stays on, and then, do you know what I mean? Ready to go. Impressive, eh?
I'm surprised you didn't go to bed wearing that.
I'm pretty quick at everything, Reese.
Me too, bro. Ask my wife.
You're not quick, she's just slow, man. You need to hurry up.
Yeah, that's rude, hey.
She needs to hurry up.
Do better for my confidence.
All right, set 2 for Reese. His first set, because it was, you know, it's light for him, but it's the first time his arm has felt 120 kilograms. He did 5 reps. So now he's comfortable with that, and he's going to do a little bit more reps. What do you say, 8 reps?
Yeah, I'll do 8 maybe. If it's easier, I'm keep going.
Great.
So good. Remember last time I came here, I was quite uneven. Is that a bit better now?
It's a lot better.
Okay, that's good.
I can still see
A little bit?
asymmetries, but everyone's like, Even though I didn't have an injury, I'm asymmetrical as well. So.
True.
Good one. Good one.
The only pain I get is in my actual shoulder, which is an old issue, and it comes from the lack of stability. But it's getting better, so the stronger my back's getting actually, the less the shoulder's hurting as well.
Yeah. I still think that's a pretty fast recovery.
It is.
To be honest with you, like 12 weeks to be able to do that.
It's like 10 weeks post-operation.
You know, like this is where I'm reluctant to say, watch where Reese is, because after 12 weeks, you should be able to bench press 120 for 8. He's stronger, like he's...
This is my life.
Yeah, he came into this with a very strong, I think you were probably at 250 recently before this.
Yeah.
So he wasn't at his peak, but like not far off it. So he was at a very strong level, so 250 kilograms. So for him to come back is a lot quicker than most people. But at the same time, as he said, this is his life.
Yeah.
He's a coach and he's a powerlifter.
I understand the game, so I can gauge it myself.
Yeah.
Because I've been there before many times.
Confidence is a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that he's been there before and he understands what it feels like, it's a big thing. And that's also why I'm raising attention on my page, because I know, like, people injure themselves all the time. And that's what we're trying to do. I don't want you to think that, you know, injury is what you have to expect when you want to be a powerlifter. Sometimes it happens. A lot of the times it doesn't.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't happen. But if
Especially
it does...
big ones.
Hey?
Especially big ones. They don't happen often.
Big ones don't happen often.
No.
But when you get as strong as you...
Play crazy games, win crazy prizes. It is what it is.
Exactly.
Signed up for it in a way.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, next up, 185.
You have one more set after?
Yeah, this is my last warm-up set. 185, and then 205. Good one. Good one. Three cameras just in case. That's all good. So, it felt good. It felt good. I can feel that it's getting heavier and heavier. And that's what happens when you get to top sets that are, you know, kind of PB, is the warm-up set before should feel heavy. You know, a lot of the times you think, oh, it should be easy because it's warm-up. No. You know, so we're getting pretty close. 205, I think it's going down. We're going to attempt it. Come on. I don't need to be psyched up as much for the bench press. You know, if I was in competition, I'd be a little bit more focused, but I'm sure everyone will agree that it is a lot easier to bench press than it is to squat, especially your max.
Amen.
Yeah, so, you know, I still feel like I don't want to miss the lift. It means a lot to me to get it, but at the same time, yeah, you can see the level of focus that I need for a very heavy squat. Like, I'm nervous. Now I'm not nervous. Like, it's not that I have more confidence. It's not that I have more confidence, actually. Like, I feel the same. Like, I could miss it, I could get it. But
it's just less weight.
It's just, you don't have to work as hard. There's no other way of saying it.
It's the simple way.
Like when you do a squat, when you're doing a max squat, unracking it, it's hard.
Yeah, and then the blood pressure spike from the fucking
right.
squat, man. It's
yeah.
Unpleasant, hey? Unpleasant feeling.
It's not pleasant. Yeah, so this is something that I talk about as well. When you're lifting heavy weights, you can't just do rep work and then go, okay, I've done 5 reps on this, so all of a sudden I can do 1 rep on that. You have to practice those singles because strength is a skill and you got to teach your body what it feels like to handle those heavy singles. So that's the whole idea with peaking. But the next thing as well, like difference between a beginner and more advanced is, I say, you got to develop pain tolerance. So not pain like as in you got to learn how to cop injuries, no. Like the pain of hard work, like it hurts.
It does, bro. You've got to be okay with it as well.
Right, even when you're getting the lifts, like even when you succeed with everything, you never miss a rep.
Yeah.
You got to take yourself to a place where it's like, okay, this is not going to feel incredible. It feels great once you've achieved it, and that's my favourite part. But actually doing it, it hurts.
And rip it off you.
To be honest with you, the face savers are there. Yeah.
No, we'll be fine.
No. It'll be fine.
It'll be sweet.
The only spot is if I tear a pec.
Yeah.
That's the only hard part, because if I don't tear a pec, like this is a bit fucking dramatic, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about the reality of this.
Yeah.
Is if I'm just not missing, like not able to get it,
Yeah.
you can, you only need a spot like
A little bit.
20 kilos
Yeah,
worth.
exactly.
You know what I mean? So he'll be able to do that with one arm. But if I tear a pec, then he has to lift the whole thing, because I won't be able to do it. So I'll just drop. And if that's the case, I've got the face savers here.
Yeah.
So all we'll do is just drop it here. I'll just drop it here. And then the role of the spotters is to just fucking unrack this.
Maybe.
But no, that's not going to happen.
Better fucking not happen.
No.
Good day. Come on, let's get it. Good job. Top step back, come on. Get fucking tight. Switch on now. Let's go.
Yeah, dude, that was quite comfortable.
That was clean.
Thank you. No, fist me, and I catch ya. It's called the cabbage. It's called the cabbage. Anyway.
You have to be in a bad mood.
I don't have to be upset now. Mate. So anyway, like, this is kind of like a bittersweet feeling, because my best bench press is 250, and I'm sitting here celebrating 45 kilos less than that. But the reality is I haven't bench pressed 205 kilograms in over 6 months, I would say. Hang on a second. Way more than 6 months. Since I've been, so I'm 43, so since I've been 40, that's when I did the big weight drop. And yeah, bro, so this has actually been 3 years. Like, I've done 200 kilograms a few times, and I'll tell you now, my arms aren't feeling amazing, because I did do the heavy squats, but it was fine.
How did that move?
Yeah, it was comfortable. Okay, now let's go reality. What do I think I had? To be honest with you, not that much more, but I do see 210 coming soon.
It wasn't an RPE 10.
It was not an RPE 10. Yeah, so I think I can see where 210 will fall in the next 2 weeks or so. Yeah.
Next week's going to be what, some heavy triples or something?
Next week I won't do heavy single. Yeah, I'll do rep work. Maybe that rep work that you asked for a while ago, which was 190 triples. So maybe I could do something like that. That's realistic for my heavy session. But then the week after, yeah, I reckon we'll hit a full send, 210. All right, so next up, look, I'm not going to do more bench press work. That was a max. Now I'm going to do some dumbbell stuff with Reese. So this is where kind of, you know, even though we're not doing the same weights together, here's some things that we can do together, right? Which is the dumbbell press. You know, he'll do it on one arm and I'll do it on two. That's totally fine, but I'll probably do, what angle do you want to do pressing on? You're doing flat?
I know, like a low angle.
Yeah, I'm happy to do a low angle, and only because I'm only doing one set here. So one set on the flat horizontal push. I don't like to do, when I PB, too much work afterwards on the same exercise. It's like take that win and run. So yeah, so let's do some flat presses. Of course, I'll do two arms, and Reese will do one arm.
I'll do a little bit on the side, but that'll be off camera because it's boring as hell.
Right. So as in the injured side. Right. So you'll do some one arm with a strong arm.
Yep, and that's a one arm.
And you know, interestingly, he last time we did that, he did more reps than me. So we did 70 kilograms. I think I did 5 or something, and he did 7 reps. So yeah, still quite strong with that one arm, because obviously he didn't stop training. right? And that's a big thing that a lot of people do when they're injured, is they get so, depressed and down about life that they just go, oh, if I can't train properly, I'm not going to train at all. Not the best way of doing it. You still got to train, do the things that you can do, and then it does actually help with the recovery. So let's do some dumbbell work. It's just a balancing act. It's a balancing act. Yeah.
Yes, this is perfect. Go.
Hey, come and check this out. This is how you do a dumbbell press, right? When you do the, when you put it on your lap, I put this really high up on my lap. I see a lot of people on a flat press, they kind of pass it to themselves. It's very inefficient. For a flat bench, you have it all the way up, and you just hand it to yourself very easily. Now this is just a feel set. Obviously I'm warm. So that one was just familiarize myself. I'll probably do one more a little bit heavier. I'll go 55. And then based on that, I'll do a heavier set.
Normally you don't do flats.
No, normally I don't do flat. This is the whole exercise redundancy thing, because you've done enough flat benching with the barbell. But today was only one set of one, so that's not enough stimulation really on that horizontal push plane. So when I go to 205, of course we've got the top set, back down set and all of that stuff. But yeah, done with bench. I take my win and I run, and now I'm going to be doing my flat horizontal pressing with dumbbells. It's just nicer on my shoulders and arms. So exercise redundancy, I say don't do the same joint angles with different machines. So we've just done flat press with a barbell. Why do the same thing with dumbbells? But the fact is I only did one set of one over there. So I still want to do some more volume on my horizontal push plane. And the flat dumbbell press is my strongest angle, really. So I want to get some heavy work on dumbbells. It's been a while. I'm going to go for 70 kilogram dumbbell press. Last time I did it, I got 5 reps. So if I beat 5, I'll be happy. Yeah, let's see how we go.
Come on. Yes. It's moving. 6, 7. Right. Yeah. That's nice.
That was comfortable. Interesting.
You liked yourself last week?
Well, I did more work. So this time I just did one set of one. So I'm feeling very understimulated. I'll do one more set. Good one. Yeah. And then what about the left side?
And then do one set of 20 reps with aim for like
So we do it at the same time.
separate sets.
So,
No,
but
I think on the left side, I just go one set heavier again the left side, but on the right side.
What I mean is, you're going to hold the counterbalance weight, or you're just going to.
I'm just doing 50.
50 is easy.
I'm doing 70.
One rep. One hand. Yeah. Okay, so this is the skill, right? So one hand. It's a balancing act, right? So although it's like, oh yeah, just one side. No. He's doing a pretty heavy weight. For him, 50 is not that heavy, but still, he has to balance his body. So that's where it's super awkward. But he's going to do one set of high reps with a 50 kilo dumbbell on his strong arm. Come on. You got it, bud. Yes, come on. 18. Let's go. Two more, come on. Up. 19. Last one. Up. Yeah. Oh. That's the last rep syndrome. That's the last set syndrome.
I felt on 19. I was like, there's no way what is happening.
Yeah.
We're here now.
That was pretty good. 19 reps. You know, some people would say 19.9 or 19 point whatever.
That's 0 for us.
In lifting weights, we round down.
We round down to The even number, but it hit it, did I? So
No,
zero.
so he got 0 reps there. So that's a discussion that we've had many times. It's kind of like the syndrome where you set yourself a target and all of a sudden the last rep is always hard or you fail or whatever it is. But I bet you had we said something like 22, not in this instance, you probably would have failed at 19. That was it. But a lot of the times we find the psychology of setting a rep target, you always like fall short just by 1 rep or the last rep is a grind or whatever it is. Something I like to teach people to do is if I'm like, not for sets of 20, that was silly, but if I'm coaching you and you're doing multiple sets of like 3s or 4s or 5s, a lot of the times I like to stand behind and scream at people and say kind of like focus on that last rep like it's a first. Like you don't have to struggle on the last rep. It can be really fast and you can put the weight down. Like when it comes to strength training and building muscle, you want to take the movement to fail. And that's what you're looking for is the bar speed slowing down. And that tells us that we're reaching that point where that's the muscle building zone, right? So that's called mechanical tension, which is what we're after to build muscle. But when it comes to building strength, that slow down the velocity of the bar speed can interfere with our strength gains. So when it comes to strength training, you want to leave reps in reserve. When it comes to hypertrophy, that's where you really want to be taking it closer to failure. So this isn't really a strength. Of course, it makes him stronger in some way, but that's not really a strength building rep range. So sets of 20 is not what you do for strength. That's what you do for shits and giggles.
Bit of fun.
Bit of fun. And now you're going to do the other side.
Yes, I'll just go less reps though.
Yeah.
I did 35 just before for a set of 8.
Yes.
So I might try 37 for 1 set of 8.
One arm.
1 arm.
Okay.
Just for the extra stimulus on the left side.
Yeah.
I'm playing catch up, so.
Not ready yet. So for these, dumbbells, for a high rep set, not a high rep set, for a heavy set of dumbbells, I need like 8 to 10 minutes rest if I want to do the same quality in 2 consecutive sets or multiple sets of. So a lot of times I will recommend for your top work, for your big heavy bench presses or compound lifts, long rest. But then when you come to your secondary exercises, you can have reduced rest. And this is the discussions that I have with a lot of people that I work with. But for me, I can't. Like for me to do another set like that, I'm going to take 8 minutes. Because I'll need 8 minutes. Because if I try and do less than 8 minutes, I probably won't get 8 reps. So I want 8 reps. You thought I wasn't going to do the last set. I always do what I say I'm going to do. I promise you. Oh, it's that adductor. It's that adductor. Well, no, it should be okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Come on. Easy, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, hardest part of that was picking up off the ground. I'll tell you what would have even been harder if I had to re-rack that. Anyway, 2 by 8. I'm going to go and do some fluffy shoulder stuff. You want to see? I'll do some face pulls. Yeah, why don't you watch me do some face pulls? That's what you can do. Check this out. This is one of my favorite shoulder health upper back exercises. So I say shoulder health, and a lot of the times I do things like face pulls, which is sitting on the floor with the rope and pulling the weights to the top of my head. So what a face pull does is you're training your mid-back muscles, and then to the top of your head, you externally rotate. So we're strengthening the external rotators of the shoulder. Now, this isn't really targeting that, but it's an alternative that allows me to shift a much heavier weight for upper back. So what I'm doing is instead of doing the ropes and all that fancy stuff, I use a wide grip on a seated row, and I'm going to pull that high to my chest. Now, what you got to understand about upper back development, so the more I flare my elbows, the less lats I use. The less lats I use, the more mid-back muscles I use. So when it comes to shoulder health, having very, very strong mid-back muscles as well as like rear delts. So this is great for rear delts and great for your rhomboids and your middle trapezius. So a lot of the times when people have shitty shoulders, they're weak in those areas. So check this out. So this is hard for me to get in because, okay, so look at my elbows. I'm lifting my elbows high to take my lats out of the equation to put all of the focus on my same muscles really as my face pulls, which is my mid-back muscles, except because I'm in this machine and I'm locking myself in, I'm able to load it with a much heavier weight. So this is one of my flavors of the week or month. It's my flavor of the month. It's a wide grip, seated row to the upper chest. What's that? Yeah, it's not one of those exercises where you do low reps. So I didn't even count because I was obviously talking, but appropriate rep range for an exercise like that would probably be, 15 rep range, 15 to 20 rep range. So I don't know how many reps I did, but I'm going to do 2 more sets of that. That was pretty easy. I can go a little bit heavier, not too much heavier. And that's a good exercise. But anyway, that was it for today's session. Reese, thank you for the session, man. I appreciate it, bro.
You are welcome.
That was a PB for me. Well, kind of not really, but still 3 years it's been since I've done 205. Great unrack. Great coach, actually.
And a PB for me as well.
PB for him, 120 kilograms.
That's a big bench press.
So good.
I'm almost halfway there.
Where do we find you? You've got a YouTube channel, don't you?
I do, Cult Strength.
Cult Strength.
Cult Strength.
Is that someone's mum's favourite channel?
It's everyone's mum's favourite channel, especially yours, unfortunately.
Go give him a follow. Thanks for the session, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Go on. You're going to make sure I do another set, huh? This guy. Did you see the size of my rear delts? Thanks for noticing. Thanks for noticing.